عسلامة، مرحبا بكم في برنامجكم ستارت اب. مازلنا مواصلين. حاضرة معنا شابة من جنوب افريقيا، اياندا بولاني، اللي هي مسؤولة على الاستثمار في نايف كابيتال. نايف كابيتال ممكن من اهم لي فوند انفستيسمون في جنوب افريقيا. وقبل منذ بعض السنوات كان عندنا حوار مع كيث وقتها، اللي هو احد اللي هو مسؤول على نايف كابيتال. باش نحكيو معاه شويه على الايكو سيستم في جنوب افريقيا، وايضا في نفس السياق مع المستثمرين نحكيو معاهم شو الحاجات اللي يخليهم يستثمروا في ستارت اب، شو الحاجات اللي تخليهم يهربوا من الاستثمار في ستارت اب. وبالطبيعه باش نحكيو شويه على ديب تك ولا اي، وتعرفوا اللي انستا ديب ولات عندها مكاتب في كيب تاون في جنوب افريقيا. Welcome to Tunisia.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
First time in North Africa, right?
Yes, it's my first time. Yeah, a wonderful experience.
الحوار هذا باش يكون بالانجليزي، وسالتها رحب بها، وسالتها اول مره في شمال افريقيا قالت نعم هي تجي من جنوب افريقيا. So I was introducing you, introducing NAF Capital, but maybe you'll do it better than me. So I will translate after.
Okay,
so
cool.
Be easy on me.
Okay, sure.
NAF Capital.
Yes.
What is your focus? What kind of investment are you doing? Kind of tickets? So what can you tell us about NAF Capital?
Sure. So Knife Capital is a venture capital fund that's based in South Africa. We have about 1.3 billion rand under management, and that's across 3 funds.
How many in dollars?
I can't do so the last fund that we raised was about $50 million, and so I think just under $100 million. So in terms of the funds that we have, we've got about 3 funds. The first fund is fully deployed. So that looked at companies that are based in South Africa, who have a strong presence in South Africa, technology focused, but also we're supporting entrepreneurs that want to internationalize and grow into different markets as well. Mm-hmm. The second fund is also almost fully deployed, but there's a bit of dry powder there. And that fund also same thesis as the first fund that I just mentioned. So Series A companies, technology focused, companies that have a presence in South Africa, but also want to internationalize. So also sector agnostic, that's quite important, especially in South Africa. It's very hard, given the fact that the market is quite small, it's very hard to have a particular narrow focus on a particular vertical. So very sector agnostic. And recently we just closed our Series B fund. That's a $50 million fund. So that's a Pan-African fund that focuses on investing in technology startups, but that are more mature than the Series A funds.
And still for South Africa, or
so more Pan-African, but we still need to have, or we still need to show that there's a clear benefit to South Africa.
$50 million,
yes.
50.
50,
okay,
yes,
cool.
Yes, that's the Series
Can
B
I
fund.
Translate?
Yes, please do.
I need to translate, and also I need to remember.
Okay, cool.
سألت إذا تحكينا أكثر شوي على نايف كابيتال. نايف كابيتال كما قلت لكم ممكن I think it's the number 1 VC fund in
I don't know, according to you.
Yeah, but
okay,
one of the most active, I think, in South Africa, if it's not the most active.
I wouldn't say it's the most active, but I think it's one of the most well-known in South Africa. Yeah.
من أهم en tout cas الصناديق في جنوب أفريقيا، parmi les plus actifs, parmi les plus connus. عندهم اليوم 3 fonds. معناتها الفون الأول تسكر كومبليتمون، مسكر معناتها il a été déployé كما يقولوا deployed. التركيز نتاعو دونك ما عندهمش ان فوكس معين. تقول لك السوق صغيره في جنوب افريقيا، دونك يمسوا عديد القطاعات. الكل اللي ايتي ديبلويي بالاساس شركات جنوب افريقيا او مهتمين بجنوب افريقيا، عندهم معناتها بزنس في جنوب افريقيا، ويعاونهم زاده باش يخرجوا لاسواق اخرى البرة. الصندوق الثاني دونك كيف تقريبا عنده نفس التركيز وقريب يتسكر، دونك فوالا فيه الفلوس ولكن قريب يسكروا يستثمروا بالكل. والفون الثالث جديد ب$50 مليون، دونك عنده صبغه اكثر بان افريكان، معناتها باش يخرج من جنوب افريقيا، ولكن ديما لازم يوريوا عندهم انتيغي، اهتمام بالستارت اب في جنوب افريقيا ويستثمروا فيهم. والكل في الكل عندهم 1.5 مليار راند، دونك اللي هي الموني نتاعهم لوكال اندر مانجمنت. توا ما عنديش هي ما عنديش الحسبه، كان فما شكون هوني في ليكيب يمشي لي يشوف لي 1.5 مليار ولا مش يكتبوا جوست 1.5 راند قداش يجي بالدولار. I'm asking them to.
Oh yes, yeah, I forgot that.
الكل هذا مانجمنت. So دونك هذا بالنسبه لشنو اللي تعمل نايف كابيتال. حبيت نحكي معها توا اكثر على السين غاديكا. معناتها نعرفوا جنوب افريقيا بلاش فيزا راهي للتوانسه فيها ايكو سيستم طالع. انستاديب عندهم مكتب توا في كيب تاون، فنحب نعرف اكثر شويه على الايكو سيستم، شنو الفرص اللي فيه. So what are the opportunities in the South African ecosystem today? I know there's a startup act on work in progress today. We are glad that we could have inspired that initiative at certain point. كنت موجود انا في جنوب افريقيا وكنت تكلمت على ستارت اب اكت، وكان موجود صاحب نايف كابيتال مع اشخاص اخرين واهتموا وقتها، ما كانوش يعرفوا شنو هو ستارت اب اكت، ومن وقتها اطلقوا مبادره في جنوب افريقيا قاعدين يحضروا بها في ستارت اب اكت، ونكونوا فخورين كون ليزا انسبيري احنا كوسيله اعلام وكتوانسه معناتها الستارت اب اكت نتاعنا اللي مازال ينا با بوتي. So there is still no startup act in South Africa, but it's work in progress. So what can you tell us about this ecosystem you described earlier as a small ecosystem? That's why you're not like diversifying a lot in different techs. We have a Tunisian success story called Instadeep.
Yes.
You heard about Instadeep. They have an office in Cape Town. There is no visa for Tunisians for South Africa and vice versa.
Yes.
So I think it could be a very interesting ecosystem for Tunisian startups. But what can you tell us about opportunities in this ecosystem?
No, that's a very great question. I think we are a nascent industry. And a lot of the institutional investors are quite risk averse in terms of wanting to invest in the venture capital asset class. But I think lately we are seeing more and more institutions actually invest in the sector. So there's the likes of a company called the SASME Fund that supports emerging VC fund managers.
It's governmental institutions?
No, it's private, but it's private, but they do have some governmental backed LPs as LPs. It's a fund of funds. But so they are quite active in terms of growing the venture capital space. We do have a lot of, or quite a few incubators and accelerators that are trying to grow startups in South Africa or in the region. And that also builds pipeline for later stage or earlier stage VC funds such as ourselves. And I would say the ecosystem is very vibrant. There's a very collaborative nature amongst the other fund managers, so that it assists in terms of creating co-investment opportunities, also sharing some learnings amongst each other. So I think there's a strong, still a very young industry, but the industry and the players in the industry are very committed in growing the industry, making it more mature. And that's why you see a very strong collaboration amongst the VC funds and other ecosystem players to try and grow the industry. And there's a lot of support that's driven from that. Yeah.
Excellent. دونك اليوم نلخص بعجاله معناتها الايكو سيستم صغير قاعد يديفلوب بالكدا. انا الحقيقه هي وصفت صغير، انا مشيت غاديكا برشا مرات ونعتبره كبير يتحرك على الاخر معناتها. What I was saying is that what you consider kind of a small ecosystem, I consider it big. I've been there. For us, it's a big ecosystem with vibrant ecosystem with lots of fintech. معناتها اليوم بالحق يتحرك برشا وكبير وفما دي فينتك اتسيتيرا. تحكي يا دو بلوز اون بلوس d'institutions قاعدين يضخوا في الاموال، فما برامج، فما دي بروغرام. Moi je trouve qu'il est intéressant. If there is one thing that could convince a startup listening to us to go to that ecosystem, at least to discover it, maybe probably for the next Africarena summit that is happening beginning of December, what would be that argument?
Oh, cool. It's a great question. I think it's access to a new market. As I've learned in my time here in Tunisia, Tunisia is a small market, and you want to internationalize. I've seen the trend, or people have spoken about the fact that Tunisians want to expand into other regions. So South Africa or Sub-Saharan Africa could be another region to expand to. There are a lot of startups in the space in different sectors that you can collaborate with, startups that you can learn from, and they're more than willing to share the learnings from their own experience. So you don't have to make the same mistakes again. But I would say those are some of the strong key reasons as to why South Africa could be an attractive opportunity. And the financial markets are also quite, I think, one of the strongest in Africa in terms of the sophistication and also in terms of the liquidity. So there's quite a lot of capital in the market, although some institutions are very risk averse, but there are a lot of funds that have managed to raise capital, and if it meets the mandate for them, then you'd be able to raise capital from them. There's a big opportunity in the B2B space. So it is true that in the South African consumer market, consumers are struggling. The economy is struggling as well. So inflation is high, and also there are a lot of issues that are facing the consumer. So you've seen startups actually position their business models from a B2C perspective to a B2B. So that means they're servicing corporates, and corporates are actually welcoming the innovation and the advantages that the corporates, or the startups can present the corporates. So I think there's an opportunity for Tunisian startups to tap that market as well.
Because there are corporates that are willing to collaborate with with innovative startups.
Yes, yes. So a lot of corporates are actually customers to the startups. So there's a huge market.
What do you mean?
So they're
huge. They cannot be customized. You mean they have
customized? Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
To clarify, so a startup would build a product for a corporate. So usually startups.
But for Tunisian startup coming to your market, how would he meet with a corporate and design a product for them? Are there like incubators, or are there like places where corporate, like here, Startup Village, you have corporate, we have startups?
You do have corporates, and
like
you do have
bootcamp, I think.
Yes, startup bootcamp. But then you also have some corporate venture capital funds. You have a lot of accelerators, and there are corporates that are supporting accelerators, and that is pipeline for them and for early stage funds as well.
دونك انا قلت لها باش نحاول نلخص ترجم ملخص معناتها اليوم حكينا على الايكو سيستم بالطبيعه نتاع جنوب افريقيا، وحكيت لها على الفرص اللي تنجم تكون غاديكا موجوده ستارت اب تونسيه. تقول لك معناتها هنا سوق واعده، سوق صاعده، سوق فيها معناتها الشركات الكبرى تري امبليكي في الايكو سيستم انتربرونيال معناتها، وياخذوا اليوم قاعدين في دي سوليوشن من عند الستارت اب، وفما برشا بلايص وبرشا برامج اللي تنجم الستارت اب تلقى روحها فيها تقدم في خدمات انتوكا تعرف بروحها معناتها. ثم انتوكا الكونيكسيون صايره بين الكوربوريت والستارت اب. So the connection for open innovation is there. It's fluent. It's there. It's very ثم الاوبن انوفيشن معناتها اليوم سهله معناتها عندهم في جنوب افريقيا. So my next question to you حبيت نسالها شنو اللي ممكن كمستثمره يخليها تستثمر في مشروع، شنو اللي يخليها تهرب تجري. So as an investor today ذكر مستمعينا أياندا هي المسؤولة عن الاستثمار في نايف كابيتال، واحد من أهم لي فون في جنوب أفريقيا. What makes you invest in a startup, and what makes you run away? The red flags.
The red flags. That's a good. I like that question. So I'll start with the more positive question around why would we invest in a particular company. So first, we have to make sure that it is a mandate fit. So we do have limited partners, and there's a mandate. So we need to ensure that the company that we're looking at meets the mandate. Okay. That's specific to us.
بعد تقول لك هي لازم تكون عندها علاقة بالموضوع نتاعها، خاطر ما عندهم فلوس قاعد يستثمروا فيها، وعندهم a brief. There is like kind of a brief for your investment
like
from
a
a
criteria.
board. Criteria, the criteria. But if you go beyond that, that's specific to Knife Capital. As an investor, what an investor is looking for? Like,
it's a good question. So strong team.
فريق قوي.
There's a strong team, and there's a lot of debate on what is determined as a strong team. But obviously the team the team needs to have.
شو اللي يقول إنه هذا فريق قوي وفريق مش قوي؟
Yeah, so the team has to have a good balance of technical skills and also business skills. So we look at companies that are in the Series A, Series B stage. So the teams need to be balanced in terms of the technical and the business skills or the commercial skills. We need founders that are very positive and passionate about their products, but also coachable. So if we have any advice that we'd like to give them or any strategic insights, they should kind of be open to receiving that, but also at the same time be confident enough in their abilities to execute on the plan. The market. So we look at
they can execute. Okay, you want me to translate?
Yes, please.
Remember what you were going to say next.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
تقول لك معناتها اليوم نستثمروا في فريق، نستثمروا ليكيب، لازم فما يكون ان اكيليبر باهي بين التكنيك والتكنيكال اند فاينانشال معناتها بزنس معناتها والاسبي لاسبي تكنيك لا ميتريز تاع الامور هذيا. بالطبيعه ليكيب تكون قويه وفسرت قبليك شويه ما عادش معناها ايكيب معناتها قويه اليوم تقول لك معناتها لازم عندهم وين ماشيين لازم اليوم قدرتهم على انه يحقق الاهداف اللي حاطينها والزوبجيكتيف معناتها اللي حطتهم الستارت اب.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So the objectives they need to, you feel like they know what they want and they're ambitious, right?
They're ambitious, know what
But
they
also
want,
they have
but coachable.
Yeah, and
yes.
they have the tools also and the for their ambitions.
Yes, they have the tools for their ambitions.
You can find many ambitious people, but you feel like they're not gonna.
Yes, yeah. So we need a team that we believe are able to execute on a plan.
Voilà.
Yeah.
L'équipe qui peut يبدأوا متأكدين اللي هي elle va pouvoir exécuter اللي قالوه le plan اللي تحط مع المستثمر أو اللي باش يتحط مع المستثمر.
Cool.
Market you said.
Yes, yeah. So we need a big market. So a market where it's growing. A market.
You're not talking as Tunisia as a market, but you're talking the market target.
Yeah,
the target market of the
target,
of the business.
Yes, yes. So the target market that
startup.
Yeah, so the target market that company is planning to acquire, it needs to be a growing market, a market where we can see the clear growth drivers, and because we don't want to invest in a market where the industry is about to die, because then the growth will be, we'll struggle to see where the growth will come from. So we need a market where it's frontier, but it's also large, and there's a large addressable market size. And that large addressable market size is growing.
حب يستثمروا في سوق واعدة هوني نحكيو ماهيش سوق مع تونس سوق ولا مغرب سوق نحكيو على مش على تونس كبلاد ولكن على السوق اللي توجه لها ستارت اب المنتوج نتاعها معناتها بالضبط تقول لازمها تكون واعده لازم فيها انكور مارج دو كروسانس كبيره خاطر مانيش نحطوا فلوس في حاجه نعتبروها باش تطيح بعد فتره.
I'd say product market fit, that's very important. So a company where we can see that there's a clear demand for the products that they are currently producing.
معناتها يشوفوا فما طلب على المنتوج هذاك بالضبط مهم ياسر معناتها يقولوا نغزروا برشا للسوق تنتظر في المنتوج هذاك ولا لا.
Yes, yes. I think we'd like to invest in a company where we can see that there's a sustainable path to profitability, given the fact that the liquidity markets right now, or the financial markets right now, aren't as liquid as they were a couple of years ago.
What are not liquid?
The financial markets. Yes. So capital is hard to come by.
2 years ago by Y Combinator, they said there's going to be much less money.
Exactly. Yeah.
قالك اليوم ما فماش برشا فلوس لو مارشي est un peu moins liquide donc نزيدوا نردوا بالنا اكثر على البروفيتابيليتي معناتها ستارت اب يحطوا فيها فلوس وين ماشيه معناتها لي بروفي معناتها الكوب دو بروفي نتاعها كيفاش ماشيه الكروسانس نتاعها. But you look on that, right?
What do you mean?
I mean, they could give you nice figures. You're still gonna.
Yeah, we'll deep dive. We'll have to do our due diligence.
حتى كان يعطيهم بروجرام مزيان وهاو طلع عرفت كي يبدا يعمل في بيتش وكل وباش نعمل 1 مليون بعد هما بشي ديب دايف كما خطفت لي الكلمه دونك يشوفوا ويتعمقوا اكثر ويحلوا قبل ما يستثمروا.
And yeah, I think that's what I can think about at the top of my head in terms of the investment criteria or things that we would look at to invest in a company. But there's much more. But I think the key ones would be a strong team, product market fit, and a growing market, and then a strong product, I guess. But that also, I guess, speaks to product market fit.
What are the red flags? الحاجات شو الحاجات اللي يخليهم يهربوا كمستثمرين يقول لك لا ما مش صح.
So I would say a red flag would be a company that is very capital intensive, or they've raised quite a lot of money, but the traction that they've delivered isn't as strong compared to the numbers that they've actually raised. So we'd like to see a company that's actually raised money but managed to generate ROI or a good traction based on the money that they've raised.
You mean it's not that company that raised lots of money, but a company that is actually really doing business, right?
Yes, yeah.
And profits.
Exactly, yeah.
But I call it, if it's not, you run away. If it's, I mean, when you find a company with that raised lots of money, if there is nothing behind it, you could like.
It will raise a lot of questions as to why.
تقول لك ستارت اب هزت برشا فلوس ولكن مش قاعدة تدور في البيزنس مش قاعدة تعمل في البيزنس تقول لك هذيك خلينا نتسائلوا ريد فلاج هذيك. So that's a red flag. And what's a no?
I think.
What would make you run away? Not just red flag as Croatians try to leave that like it's a no.
It would definitely be a management team that, I don't want to say the word, but a management team that we believe that we can't work with, a management team that we believe that we can't trust and that we can't partner with, because this is a relationship.
معناتها فريق تكون ما عندوش ثقة فيه، لأن تقول علاقة قصدت عليها، أنا ما تقولنا معناتها فريق لازم يكون عندهم ثقة فيه. relationship.
So it's a relationship game. So we need to partner with founders and a management team that we believe that we can trust and that we can work towards building or executing on that plan. And even if there are disagreements in terms of the strategy, but we believe that we can work together to work on that plan.
Right. Any no's? Other no's?
No.
Your job is to say, you're supposed to say much more no than yes, right?
No, not necessarily. Why do you say so?
VCs usually, like a few of them that I have interviewed before, they usually say our job is to say no. Like they say 99% no.
Yeah. I mean, we do get a lot of...
You should have lots of no.
So we do get a lot of startups in terms of applications. And to your point, yes, we do say no quite a few times because A, it has to meet the mandate, but B, there's certain investment criteria that it needs to meet. And sometimes there's a clear red flag. And I did mention one of those, or two of those rather. And so we do say no quite a few times.
Good luck. Thank you for joining us on Express FM and here in Tunisia. What do you think about this ecosystem? It would be my last question to you. شو رأيها في الإيكوسيستم التونسي مرحبا بها فيه.
Thank you. I think to your earlier point around South Africa being a vibrant ecosystem, I think I was blown away by how more vibrant the Tunisian ecosystem is.
It's an inspiring
Yes,
one.
it's an inspiring one. There's a lot of support from the government, which I think is very, very necessary in terms of growing the ecosystem, and the fact that you have made much more progress in terms of implementing the Startup Act, which obviously has a huge impact in terms of growing the ecosystem and the startups. I was very impressed and very blown away by what I've seen so far. I'll definitely be coming back.
Thank you, Ayanda.
Thank you so much.
Ayanda
Bolani. Yes.
Bolani. أيانا بولاني from Knife Capital. نشكرها. سألتها على الإيكوسيستم هنا، قالت كان حكينا قبيك على الإيكوسيستم تاع جنوب أفريقيا South Africa اللي هو vibrant. قالت مالا تونس it's very vibrant معناتها متحرك برشا. وقلت لها هنا il est inspirant. قالت هي معناتها très inspirant عجبها على الآخر. Would you invest here?
It's a good question. I mean, there's good talent. Good tech talent. I think logistically it's a very attractive country because it's so close to Europe. A lot of companies, as I mentioned earlier, are trying to internationalize, so it makes sense from that perspective. There's a lot of support from different ecosystem players. So I think it's an attractive investment destination. We haven't invested in Tunisia before, so I think it's something worth considering.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We already interviewed before Keith, and now we know Ayanda, and there are opportunities here. Yes. You should look. There are South Africans like Launch Africa.
Yes.
I think they're like at their sixth investment here. حكيت لها على لانش افريكا وشخص من جنوب افريقيا زكي جورج اللي هو تو في الاستثمار السادس نتاعو انكور في تونس. يعني فما there are opportunities here.
Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. I think it's worth considering.
Find the very interesting opportunities.
Yeah, no, definitely 100%. Thank you so much.
شكرا ليك. قلت لها تشوف فما برشا فرص هنا جوست تغزر اكثر معناتها، واحنا هوني بالطبيعه we're here to help anyway. معناتها ولا نحبوا نجيبوا استثمارات بالطبيعه لبلادنا ويعطيهم الصحه وما اللي يعملوا فيه. وقلت لها فما شكون من جنوب افريقيا ما تستثمر قبل هنا في استثمار السادس كما قلت لكم. شكرا ليك. شكرا.
Thank you.
Thank you. شكرا لكل الفريق هنا. كان معنا آدم، تقوى، يوسف، سليم، سارة. فريمون برافو توت ليكيب، يعطيكم الصحة. شكرا لكم الكل. هكا وصلنا لنهاية حلقتكم لليوم برنامج ستارت اب. وسيم بعد بحييكم، نهاركم مبروك، ربي يحمي بلادنا ان شاء الله. تابعونا على www.expressfm.com. هذم كانوا بعض الضيوف من اللي جاوا لافريكا ارينا. الاكسبريس اف ام كنت بارتنير نتاعو. افريكا ممكن من اهم لي زيفينمون دو في سي دانفستيسمون ستارت اب. واكسبريس اف ام ديما تزيد في القيمه، وديما في لي زيفينمون يزيدوا في القيمه، وما نجموا كان نساندوا الناس والمبادرات اللي يزيدوا في القيمه. ربي يحمي بلادنا.